Tonight, we are in Paraguay's Copa de Primera Apertura for Guaraní against CS2 de Mayo. And this is one of those matches where the model sees a very fine margin, but the shape of the game still comes through quite clearly. Let's start with the numbers. My model gives Guaraní 1.13 expected goals and CS2 de Mayo 1.08. That translates into a home win probability of 31.9%, a draw at 30.3%, and an away win at 37.8%. So the first takeaway is simple. This is not a strong home favorite spot. In fact, the model gives a slight edge to the visitors. But it is a narrow edge, not a dominant one. The top projected scorelines are 1-1, then 1-0, and then 0-1. That alone tells you a lot about the match profile. Tight margins, low scoring tendencies, and very little separating the two teams. The fair prices support that reading. CS2 de Mayo come out as the most likely winner, but only by a small margin over Guaraní and the draw. Over 2.5 goals sits at just 38.1%, and the expected corner count is modest as well at 7.98. So from a pure model perspective, this is not a game built for open, end-to-end football. It looks more like a controlled match, with long stretches of caution and a strong chance that one moment swings everything. Now let's widen the frame. The power index and the form table do not tell exactly the same story, and that is what makes this matchup interesting. On the power index, Guaraní sit 5th, while CS2 de Mayo are 8th. So on baseline team strength, Guaraní have the slight edge. But the form index flips the picture. CS2 de Mayo are 4th in recent form, while Guaraní sit 7th. So the longer-term power profile leans one way, while the shorter-term rhythm leans the other way. That kind of split is often where the market gets uncomfortable and where the match itself becomes more tactical than flashy. Now let's move into the football side of it. Guaraní are not entering this game as a side in full attacking flow. Their power profile is respectable, but the recent form line says they have not been turning that profile into enough clean results. That usually points to a team that can stay competitive, but not always one that can fully impose itself. At home, that matters even more. Because if you cannot create separation early, this kind of match can become nervous very quickly. CS2 de Mayo, on the other hand, look like a side growing into the competition. They are not far behind in the power numbers, and they are ahead in recent form. That suggests a team playing with a little more clarity, a little more confidence, and maybe a little more comfort in tight game states. And that matters in a matchup projected this close. This does not look like a game where one side overwhelms the other. It looks more like a game where structure, discipline, and decision-making in a few key moments will decide it. That is why the low event profile is so important here. The model is not just calling this close. It is calling it close in a low-scoring environment. That changes the betting interpretation. Because when totals are low and the top scorelines are clustered around 1-1, 1-0, and 0-1, every side pick carries more risk than the raw 1x2 numbers might suggest. This is not the kind of match where you want to pretend the edge is bigger than it is. The away side may be slightly more likely, but the draw is very live. And the home side are still close enough in baseline quality that this can turn on one mistake, one set piece, or one defensive lapse. That is also why the corner angle stands out. With the expected corner count under 9 and over 9.5 corners priced as a relatively low probability event, the game projects as one with fewer repeated attacking waves than the average bettor might assume. That fits the rest of the profile. Few goals, few big momentum swings, and probably fewer sustained periods of pressure than a more open fixture. So when I put everything together, this is the final read. The model gives CS2 de Mayo a slight edge. The draw is highly live. Guaraní are still close enough on power profile to make this a real three-way match. But the strongest overall message is not really about the side. It is about the texture. This should be a close, low-scoring, low-margin match. If you want the cleanest summary, it is this. Respect the away lean. Respect the draw. Respect the undergame script. And if you are looking for the sharpest score cluster, it starts with 1-1, then 1-0, then 0-1. That is the read for Guaraní against CS2 de Mayo. If you want more model-driven match previews like this, subscribe to the channel. I break down team strength, form signals, projected scorelines, and betting-relevant match texture every round. See you in the next one.